Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the review for this QiKU Terra, which is a new handset by this new company. It's actually a subsidiary of QiKU, and I have been using this device now for almost 2 weeks, and at the end of the video I'll give you my standard pros and cons. But before that, let me give you a configuration overview. This QiKU Terra sports a 6-inch 1080p screen which comes to a PPI of 386. It is powered by the Snapdragon 808 chipset, which is a 6-core processor. It comes with 3 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of internal storage. It also has a micro SD card slot. Moving towards the camera, it sports dual 13 megapixel rear facing camera, a 8 megapixel front facing camera. Moving to the battery is sealed inside, which is a 3700 milliamp hour battery. It also has a fingerprint sensor and it does support fast charging. So this is the QiKU Terra, and again the build quality is really nice. This is actually metallic, as you can see. This is the fingerprint scanner. I'll show you about the fingerprint scanner. And actually we do have a dual camera setup with dual LED flash, and just this portion and this portion is plastic, but the entire casing is metallic. And as you can see, we also have chamfered edges, so it gives a very good look, and it sports a massive 6-inch screen, and it also has a LED notification light over here. And the phone, actually I thought it will be really big because it has a 6-inch screen, but this is my Nexus 6P, and I'll just place it side by side. And as you can see, in terms of the height department, it's exactly the same as the Nexus 6P. The reason for that is the bezels are actually very thin on this. So I got very comfortable using this phone. So if you have used a phablet size of phone, don't be worried that it has a 6-inch screen. It is manageable, I have to say. And also, as it has a slight curved back, it's actually easy to hold, and the fingerprint scanner is actually very responsive. And as you can see, if you just touch it, it just unlocks, so it is very good. And as it is running a custom skin that is known as 360, the UI is a little bit different. Like most Chinese phones, we don't have an app tray, but the customization is well done on this phone. And in my day-to-day testing, I've tested this phone for almost 2 weeks now. It did not exhibit any UI lag, and I have to say it's very much inspired by iOS. Also, we have this gesture. If you just pull from the bottom, we have these quick toggles and shortcuts over here. This is what we see in iOS. So I would say it's highly inspired by iOS, but again, we have some built-in apps that are sort of useful. For example, you can actually fingerprint lock any app. For example, I have locked this Photos app. So if you just try to open it, it'll ask for the fingerprint, and if you just tap it, it unlocks. So you can lock any app you like with this one. So the customizations offered are good customization, and it offers almost all the options that you would like. For example, if we move to dual SIM, again, yes, it's a dual SIM device. The first SIM slot can accept a normal micro SIM, but the second slot accepts a nano SIM or a SD card. You have to select between that, so that's a hybrid solution. I've added actually 2 SIMs. If you notice, the first SIM is my Aircel SIM, and right now I'm using that for calling, but the second SIM, I'm using it as my data, and I've set it to 4G. For example, if you go here, you can actually select that for data, as you can see, between which one, the first SIM or the second SIM. So you can select that, and it works perfectly with the 4G. I'm using Airtel 4G, and it works very well. So it's a dual SIM, but the second slot is sort of hybrid, so you have to select between the micro SD card or the second SIM. And let me actually again show you the Android version that comes. If you go over here, you have to go to more devices, and if you go to about the device, as you can see, it's running on the Android version 5.1.1, which is Lollipop. As it's running a custom skin, I'm not very sure how fast we'll get the Android Marshmallow update. That's the thing with custom skins. But overall, in terms of day-to-day performance, I did not notice any lagginess while using this phone. And again, this is the multitasking tray. And again, as I told you, again, very much inspired like iOS. So this is how you get it, and you can just clean up. And out of that 3 gigabytes of RAM, let's see, we get a healthy amount of RAM. That's almost about 1.8 gigabytes or so free, and I never faced any issues of lagginess or anything when I was using the phone. Another thing that I like about this phone is that they did not skimp on the sensors. For example, multi-touch, it has all the 10 multi-touch points, as you can see. And also when we move to the sensors, let me actually fire the CPU Z app. And if we go to the sensors department, and again here you have all the sensors that you might expect, and again we also have the gyroscope. So almost all the sensors are there, and it's just like a high-end phone. They did not skimp on the sensors, so that's a good thing. Also, as I've already mentioned, the fingerprint scanner works very well. Now moving to the battery, it has a 3700 milliamp hour battery, and I have to say the battery life was also very good. But one thing I do not like about this device is that it makes us the gauging how much is the screen on time is actually very difficult. If you go to the battery tab, let me just show you that battery and power saving. If you go to the battery details, I've just charged it, but it does not actually show you us the actual screen on time. And I have to say, in my rough estimate, the screen on time was also very good, about 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time. And in terms of my daily usage, it was lasting me for about 1.5 days. Even after about 1.5 days, I had about 20% battery life. That is on mobile data. So the battery life that I was getting was actually very good with this device. So that's very good. And another good thing is that it does support fast charging. So if you have a fast charger, it will support fast charging. But the charger that is bundled is not a fast charger. So you have to be aware of that. But the good thing is that the device supports fast charging. Now moving to the camera, again as you can see, it sports this dual setup camera, and overall I have to say the camera performance was actually very good. And as you can see from the sample shots, in outdoor lighting, the camera performance was actually very good. But again, when we move to artificial lighting, I would say the performance was just okay, not that great. But again, that is something that we are used to in this price segment. Again, if we talk about the image quality comparing with other devices in this price segment, then I have to say the camera performance was good. But as it does not have any optical image stabilization in artificial lighting and in low lighting conditions, there is quite a bit of camera shake that you have to be aware of. Again, I have already done the camera review, so you can check out that video for more info regarding the camera samples. Also, it does support 4K video recording and 1080p video recording, but again, as it does not have optical image stabilization, you have to be careful, otherwise the videos come out to be a little bit shaky. Now moving to gaming, I did quite a bit of gaming with this device, and overall I have to say the gaming performance was also very good. It ran most of the games without any issues. But yes, in some of the games, for example in Nova 3, when I was loading up the game, I noticed some frame drops initially, but after that the game was very smooth. So even for gaming, it performs very well. And the good thing is that even with extended gaming, it did not exhibit any heating issues. So this QiKU Terra does offer us a lot, but now let me actually break down this device between the pros and cons, and I have made a list, so let's go over them. First, let me just go over the cons. And the first thing that I notice is that overall the build quality is actually very good. It feels very much premium. But in terms of the volume rocker and the power button, I do notice that it does wobble quite a bit. So that is one thing to be aware of. Also, I did notice that the screen has a little bit of scratches, though it has Gorilla Glass 2.5D glass. It has quite a bit of scratches. I don't know if this will be there on the retail unit, because this is a review unit that I got. And yes, QiKU Terra does bundle a screen guard with the package. So if you're going to buy this device, I would highly suggest that you apply that screen guard, because looks like the screen is prone to scratches. Also, I did notice that these touch type capacitive buttons on the bottom are not backlit. Also, I noticed that it does not have any optical image stabilization. So though the camera performance is good, but again in low lighting and in artificial lighting, you have to be aware of that. And if you're not careful, the pictures might come out to be a little bit shaky. Also, I noticed that when I got this device, I tested it with two SIMs, that's Aircel and Airtel 4G, and to enable data I had to manually insert the APNs for both these providers. So you have to be aware of that. That might not be the case with the retail units, but with this unit I had to manually input the APN to get the mobile data working. But once I did that, it worked perfectly with 3G and even with 4G. Also, as it's running this custom skin known as 360, though it runs it very well, I'm not sure how well it'll get the latest Android updates. So you have to be aware of that also. And also, as this QiKU Terra is a new company in India, I can't vouch about the after sales service and the service center. So these are some of the cons with this device. But now let's move to the things that I really liked with this device. And the first thing is the fingerprint scanner. The fingerprint scanner works very well and it's super accurate. I have to say it's one of the best fingerprint scanner, just like the Nexus 6P. It is very fast and works very well. I also like the fact that they have provided a utility using which you can actually lock any Android app. So it adds a layer of protection in my opinion. Also in terms of the battery, it houses that 3700 milliamp hour battery, and the battery life that I got was very good, on an average about 1.5 days. Also it does support fast charging, so that's a good thing, but the charger supplied is not a fast charger. And I also tested it with USB OTG, and USB OTG functionality also worked without any issues. Also, when we talk about the styling, the phone looks actually very premium because of the metallic build quality and the chamfered edges. So it feels good. And also, though it's a big phone having a 6-inch screen, as I've mentioned earlier, if you are using a phablet of around 5.7 inches, it's almost the same because of the thin bezels. Now moving to the screen quality is actually very good. Though it's just a 1080p panel, not a quad HD, but the screen quality is good. Also in outdoor conditions, if you keep it in auto brightness, it is decent. It is fairly visible also in outdoor lighting. But again, when I was using, camera apps and stuff in outdoor conditions, yes, the screen could have been slightly brighter. Now moving to the next thing, I also tested it with GPS and it worked very well. Also in terms of sensors, we have almost all sensors that are required by a typical device. Also in terms of the cellular call quality, that I got was also very good, and also it did not exhibit any overheating issues in my testing. So as you can see, this QiKU Terra does offer us a lot for the price, and it sells in India for about 20,000 if you have an invite. Without an invite for about 22,000, and it sells online via this Gadgets 360 portal. So overall a very good device, I would say, and certainly one of the best if we talk about the price to performance ratio, if we talk about the price at around 20,000. But again, as this is a new company, I'm not very sure about the after sales service and the service center. So that is one thing you have to be aware of. And also, as it runs this custom skin, so you might not get the latest Android updates very quickly. But overall, I would say if we just talk about the price to performance ratio, I have to say this QiKU Terra does perform very well. And again, if you are okay trying out this new company and if you are on a tight budget, you can certainly have a look at this QiKU Terra. Again, I have also posted other videos on this QiKU Terra, like its gaming review and its camera review, so you can check out those videos for more info. I hope this video was helpful. If it was helpful, I'll appreciate if you can click the like button, and if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.